Welcome to ClickFunnels Radio, the podcast that brings you the latest strategies, insights, and success stories from online marketers just like you who utilize funnels to grow their business. Our mission is simple: to help you unleash the true potential of your online business by harnessing the power of funnels. Join us every week as we bring you exclusive interviews and thought-provoking discussions that will revolutionize the way you approach online marketing. Here are your hosts, Laura Demetrius and Chris Cameron.
Welcome back to ClickFunnels Radio. I'm Laura Demetrius, here with the best co-host on the planet, Mr. Chris Cameron. Chris, how are you?
That's super nice to say, because I feel the same way. That's
awesome.
So
Thanks,
great.
Laura. There's such a mutual love.
Made it the best day of my life.
All right. Well, today, good news. We have a special guest who is going to share a ton of valuable education around short form video and using Facebook and Instagram stories to effectively get loads of inbound leads for free. Super excited about this conversation myself. So we've got Nico Moreno, and he's here with us today. He's a chatbot and funnel builder who has helped over 500 course creators, coaches, and other funnel hackers grow their online business with high-ticket funnel and chatbot strategies. Thanks for joining us, Nico.
Oh, thank you so much, Laura and Chris. It's my pleasure to be here hanging out with you guys and talking with the hashtag funnel hackers.
I'm super excited to hear more about this because I know I use Facebook and Instagram stories frequently, but I haven't been very strategic in using it to bring in leads. So I'm excited for the chat that we're going to have. But can you just get started by telling us a little bit about your background story?
Absolutely. So I've been actually a funnel hacker for around 6 to 7 years now. And I would say really ClickFunnels was actually kind of the breakthrough, both community and actual platform that allowed me to have my breakthrough. So, I started off like probably a lot of people in their journey. I worked a 9-to-5 job that I really didn't like. I was actually unpacking boxes at Nordstrom at 5 a.m. So I had to wake up at like 3:45 to drive to Nordstrom and be there at like 4:45. And then before anyone was there, it was pitch black and I was unpacking boxes. And I just remember I started listening to podcasts about just anything that was uplifting, because I was not really, not in a very good headspace. So, I started listening to Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki and started to realize that, hey, if I want to get myself in a better situation, I need to figure out a way to make money that doesn't require my time, right? So it was that point that I started to just do some research on just ways to make money online or just ways to make money outside of my job. I would say it took me about a year of kind of trying just anything and everything, like publishing Kindle ebooks to random affiliate marketing courses that, who knows how legitimate those actually were. I don't know. But,
so you were willing to try it all. Just put it out there.
Yeah, I was willing to try anything just to get myself out of that situation and into a better place, feeling like I was in control of my life and my income and where I was putting my time. So it was around a year or so, into my online journey that I discovered ClickFunnels. And I can't even quite remember how. I think it was an ad from Russell. And it was like, are you tired of gluing all these softwares together? And I was like,
yes.
I was like, yes, that's literally me. Because it literally took me I was so set on making this work. It took me probably 3 weeks to figure out how to create a Wix website, create an email opt-in page, create a custom coded PayPal button, and link them all together. Again, me having literally no online marketing experience, I was using YouTube videos to figure out how to make this all work. And I finally did after 3 weeks. And now I was okay, now I have to figure out how to get people to pay me anything.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I see this ad and I was wait, I could have done this in 15 minutes.
Can I back up for 1 second? I've done a little bit of background study on you, and I find this fascinating. So first off, whatever you're doing is working. The credentials are above your left and your right shoulder, multiple 2 Comma Club award winners. So if you're listening to this, Nico's the real deal. But what I found fascinating a little bit about your backstory is you're educated. This isn't something you're well, nothing else is working in my life, so I think I'll just try online. Were you a chemist?
I studied chemistry. Yeah. I didn't actually go into any career in chemistry, but I did. Yeah, I do have a bachelor's of science in chemistry, which
that's crazy, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I love chemistry as a fascinating subject. I was kind of the mindset, at that point in my life, I was do what you love and like the money will follow. Hopefully it didn't in that career path, but yeah, I love chemistry. I'm
definitely coming from a different background of the other online business people who are like, I'm going to do this because I don't understand science.
Yeah. No, I love chemistry, and I'm actually still fascinated to this day. I don't know if anyone listening or if either of you are interested in like, like how thoughts create reality and like kind of like quantum mechanics and that sort of thing. But it's very eerily similar to like actual chemical processes. So that's
very cool.
Yeah.
Probably in marketing too, right? I'm sure a lot of that stuff, action and reaction and everything else, you use those same rules in marketing.
Totally. Yeah. Marketing is totally like a numbers game. It's like, how many leads can you get into your funnel? How can you improve your conversion rate? How can you improve your like, sales rate and everything if you're doing a phone call, close rate. So yeah, there are a lot of similarities, but ultimately I just didn't want to work in a lab the rest of my life.
Well, I get it.
I mean, there are great things about Nordstrom too, but I guess being in a dark room unpacking boxes probably isn't the best.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah.
So you found Russell by this ad after he completely resonated with exactly the journey that you were going through. Yep. So did that bring you into like Russell's world and his training and education, or did it lead you directly to ClickFunnels?
It led me directly to ClickFunnels. So that was actually the exact same time that I heard of Russell at all, was just ClickFunnels. So I, signed up for, the free 14-day trial, went through literally this was my first real step into something legitimate with online marketing. At least I'm pretty sure it was the first legitimate thing that I tried. And I was just totally like, his indoctrination sequences worked. I was just sold on everything. I was like, this makes sense. This is working. Like I have my actual like landing page funnel like done in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. And, understanding, the hero's journey and all his storytelling processes, plus being a part of what was actually a pretty small Facebook group at the time. I feel like there were maybe 20,000 or 30,000 people in the ClickFunnels group when I joined. And now there's like
a little bigger now.
Yeah, that is significantly less than what it is today.
500,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, it was my step into the online world and this whole new community of people that, I could see people posting in the group too. I think this was another big catalyst for me. It was like being a part of the ClickFunnels group and seeing people post like their Stripe screenshots of like, oh, look, I made 300 grand this month. And I was like, holy crap, like this is real.
Yeah.
Wow. I was like, literally didn't think that was actually possible. So,
and then what did you want to like? What did you start doing in your business, and is it what you're still doing today? Like,
yeah, that's a great question. So I definitely had like a transformation of kind of like, or an evolution of what I was doing. So the first thing that I started doing online was freelance copywriting. So from that, I kind of I started to notice that. Really, the reason I got into copywriting in the first place was because I figured that it was something that, relatively low barrier to entry. I just wanted anything that I could do to like, start getting some clients, start helping them with something that was real and tangible, but didn't require like, that I have this like info product that's already like perfectly created and all these funnels and everything, like just something to get my feet in the door. But then what I actually noticed, and it's funny enough, because I, had just started learning about ClickFunnels, what I noticed is I was losing, or a lot of clients that were not, becoming paid clients for me. They told me that it was because they didn't just want the copy, they also wanted a funnel that was like done. So I put two and two together and I was like, if I can just learn ClickFunnels, like if I can learn like the whole skill and like how to put together a funnel, then, all those clients who I didn't end up converting, like they probably, some of them would have actually signed up. So I took probably about 2 months, maybe like 1 to 2 months to learn everything there was that I could possibly learn about how to set up like the different types of funnels, like auto webinar, like a high ticket phone call funnel. And I decided to start offering like funnel building and copywriting together. And
now you can charge more.
Yeah. Yes. Literally within 1 month, I got a $10,000 paid in full funnel client and copywriting. Wow. So that was a game changer for me, because that was like, twice what I was making in a month, and I just made it a sale. So then at that point I was sold, and I was like, I'm signing up to go to FHL, and like, I'm in this. So yeah.
Amazing. And now you're doing, well, you have all kinds of advice that you're willing to share, but like, I'm specifically interested in learning more about what you have to share about using stories on Instagram and Facebook to get leads. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Totally. Yeah. So, like I mentioned, being a part of the ClickFunnels community on Facebook, like Facebook organic was kind of like the first way that I ever learned to acquire clients. So Facebook has kind of like a long time been the platform of choice for me. And once they started, I can't remember exactly when, but once Facebook started offering story in addition to, it was first like Instagram, I think, and then Facebook kind of like started doing stories as well. I kind of started playing around with it, and I just, I realized that, I would see these frames, I'm sure everyone listening, like, when you're on your Facebook feed, you kind of like see people's stories and you see the little thumbnail and you can see like their face or whatever it is that they're showing on their story. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But, for a while, I didn't really know, like, I didn't quite get the point. And then what I started doing, I just started kind of playing around with just testing putting different types of things on my story, such as like a screenshot of a client testimonial, which I'm sure, everyone's probably seen that these days, as well as, and also just starting to like get more comfortable talking on camera. Cause for me, I don't know about you guys, but early on in my journey, I was super nervous to do any sort of Facebook Live or anything like that.
Yeah.
But cause it's daunting, like when you're just out there and like anyone can come watch and like, you don't really know who's there.
It really does feel like one of the biggest things to overcome on social media is to actually just like get in front of the camera and show your face and say something.
For sure. Yeah. So what I actually found is like, I actually found it to be a lot more comfortable to start off by like doing short little videos inside of story, because you're not necessarily like broadcasting yourself live. Like the people who watch your story, they're choosing to watch you. They're choosing to watch your story. And you're also not really live. Like you're just kind of recording it and then you're putting it out there and you can see what happens after, or you can just kind of forget about it and be like, I hope that didn't bomb. But so after, I would say after like 6 months of kind of like just haphazardly uploading the story, I kind of started to realize that I was starting to generate like a lot of inbound leads and kind of just inquiries from my stories. And so what I started to do was I kind of, I started to just create sort of a framework for myself of like, okay, what are the types of stories that people are responding to, of where they're actually messaging me saying like, hey, like, this is so cool. Like, can you set this up for me? Or like, can you help me do this? Like these are real inbound, like quality leads. And so I started to ask myself, okay, well, what are the ways that I can replicate that happening like every single day instead of haphazardly? So basically, like, kind of what I realized is story doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be like super well thought out, but there is like a little bit of a framework that I would love to share with people on how you can make it fun and inject your personality on a daily basis, but also bring in quality lead.
I'd love to hear it, because I do think, Laura, kind of what you're saying is it's the way to start is just put it out there. But I think, Nico, everybody has that moment. They're like, hold on. You use the term haphazardly. And I think a lot of people are like, okay, well, I'm doing this. Oh, wait, I noticed one thing that happened. And what I love too about your journey as a coach and as a consultant, the things that you've learned, and as you share that with other people, you can shortcut it for them. And so that's what I'm excited for here for the framework, is like, okay, don't haphazardly do it. Don't just get out there, but now you can start with a purpose and a framework.
Yeah. Totally. Especially for somebody like me who had like the lifestyle blogger background, where a lot of people just share things that are like day to day, like here's what I'm doing, right. There's no strategy. There's no call to action. Half the time you're just like replying to people who are like, yeah, I'm at Target too, So let's talk actually from the marketing perspective, how you can use that, like, and include a call to action and actually get some engagement. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing this.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's get into it. So there's kind of like two types of, I think of this in terms of creating content, which, story, you can think of it as content, but you don't want to overwhelm yourself into putting a whole bunch of like time and effort and thought into it. It is very simple, but I do, in my mind, I kind of structure it in terms of like, okay, my weekday stories and then there's weekend stories. Cause like during the week, most people are kind of focused on business. And so you also want to kind of keep it that way too. But on the weekend, people are just laid back. They're out doing stuff with their families or they're spending time outside. And so you also want to mirror that and show that, even if you are like a coach or an entrepreneur or a course creator who's focused primarily on business, it's okay. And people will actually relate to you a lot more if you kind of show a little bit of yourself, like just in your normal day-to-day life on the weekends. So yeah, the way that I think about it, first and foremost, is like, okay, is it a weekday or is it a weekend? So during the weekdays, I kind of follow a very simple process and framework. Basically, what I like to do is I upload total, I'd say 4 to 5 like story frames. And so what a story frame is, it's either one short video that's going to be up on a story or like just an image, right? So, you could have one, like a video, image, video, like that would count as 3 frames. So everyone,
so like when you tap your story and go through, it's like a slide.
Yeah, like a slide. Exactly. So basically I just aim to have like 4 to 5 per day, I think is enough. Don't need more than that. But basically what I like to do is I like to have on each weekday, I like to have one video that's actually showing my face of me talking about anything. It can be a valuable lesson that I've learned, maybe from a conversation with a client or a conversation with even a friend, right? So just me talking, getting my face and my name out there. Doesn't necessarily have to have a call to action on it, but I would say talking head video is extremely important just so that people start to build that know, like, and trust factor.
Yeah. And I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, and maybe you can give some kind of insight on this, but if you actually start, how they renew, like they expire after 24 hours, if your day actually starts with a video of you talking, that the algorithms will actually pick that up and deliver it to more people because you're actually showing yourself. Have you noticed any difference in that? Like, is that true?
Yes, totally. So I've found like the 3 types of story frames that do the best for me as being like the first frame of the day, basically.
Yeah.
Are ones of your face. So you showing your face. Ones, and again, I think the other 2 are always going to maybe vary based on your industry and your niche. But another one that always works really well for me is anything where I'm like doing something active, like at the gym or something like that, where people can kind of like root you on, or it's basically like something that a lot of people can relate with or they find inspiring. So for me, it's like gym or fitness photos or working out or something. Those always do really well if they're at the beginning of the stack. And then the final thing is just being in the make money online niche. Anything with like a Stripe screenshot or something like that. That's kind of like the desire or the end goal of what your audience wants.
I hear even like a stack of cash. I was talking to Brandon Fisher and he said that was one of the biggest things. Like, boom, he throws up cash.
Money.
People relate to it.
Flash it, yeah.
And without being like heavily promotional, I would imagine too, right? Like you're showing somebody an outcome or something they can engage with. That's not just like click here.
Yeah,
right.
Totally. No, it doesn't even have to be that way. Like most of mine, if I do like a Stripe screenshot or something, I'll just say like something like, wow, I'm really grateful that I took my online business seriously. Because, a lot of people that follow me, maybe they're a little bit more in the beginner phase and they're kind of wondering like, is this going to work out? Like, should I commit to this fully? So a lot of times if I'm going to do something that's, like a Stripe screenshot or like that, that's a little bit more like vain, so to speak, I'll kind of like pair it with a caption that's something like, I'm so grateful that I took my online business seriously because 3 years ago, I never would have thought this was real, but this shows like what can happen if you just commit to this process and like.
But it's not only, and it's good, I think, to have the humble brag, right? Like, I think you're not just going like, say, oh, look what I'm doing, but using that as a hook, like understanding that seeing something like that is going to stop a scroll or stop the swipe going through stories, right? Of, oh, wait a minute, that's intriguing. Like, oh, this is how much he's made, or a stack of cash or anything stops people. But then you go into the story part, right?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So you always, you want to capture attention with kind of the 3 different types. And again, if you're in a totally different niche, probably there's going to be other things than Stripe screenshots that will attract your ideal audience. But just for the purposes of like, what I specifically have experienced. Yeah. Once you kind of like have that initial thumbnail image that's going to grab people's attention, then yeah, there's a few other types of stories that I like to mix in throughout the day, just to make sure that I'm covering all my bases. So you've got like the attention grabbing one right at the beginning. Then another thing that I always like to include is a call to action every single day in story. So, for those of you who use Facebook or even Instagram to market, you kind of know that, posting a call to action on your wall every single day is like a bit much. It's definitely overkill. It's pretty annoying, and you kind of don't want to do that. People are just going to unfriend you.
People want to just like mute you. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this though. Like stories is providing a real way for you to do hook story offer, because you can actually include all of them. It's pretty genius.
Yeah. You can include all of them every single day, and nobody will ever give you flack for it. I promise. So the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a call to action every single day, whether it's you.
Do you mix it up?
Oh yeah, totally. Yep. So you want to, over time, if you're just starting out, you may just want to have like one call to action that, that's going to speak really clearly to your audience. But for me, at this point, I would say I have like 4 to 5 like really good call to action that I just know are going to work just because I've been testing them for like years. That doesn't mean that I don't test new things, but I'll kind of rotate, just by the day, and mix them up. And so I'll say, hey, if you are an entrepreneur or a coach and you want to like double your phone calls with like less time or no time and effort, then I've got this cool training that's going to show you exactly how you can do that with chatbots. So just DM me the word, and I'll have like in the text too, like the main call to action on the story. So I'll say, DM me the word chatbot, but I'll also be verbally saying it too. I'll say, DM me chatbot, and then I'll send you this cool free training and you'll see how it works. So it's super simple, but you'd be surprised. I mean, there are days where I get like 10 inbound leads from like one story like that.
That's amazing. And it's funny, I actually just started using a chatbot just because we test different methods here at ClickFunnels, but also I'm like, if this is working for a business, why couldn't it work for me personally? And I started using one, and I'm like, regardless of getting any, like worrying so much about leads, just the level of engagement that you get or the conversations you can start by saying, comment this word below. It's such a good opener for like, it's an icebreaker. It's a way of like getting to know people a little bit better and starting a DM conversation with them so that it's not just showing up in spam or whatever. And I think it's so great that not only is it a way to get leads and potentially sales, but just to get people to comment and start a conversation. Like there's so much value in that.
Yep.
There is. And psychologically, you are training them to buy. Like, I've done a lot of speaking from stage, and you do NLP stuff. You get people to raise their hand, you get people to nod and say yes. And that simple call to action, I'm talking hook story offer, that offer and call to action are synonymous, right? Because you're getting them to do something. They'll come in and chat. That way, next time there's an ask, there's a reason, folks, when we do like Funnel Hacking Live, we always do some type of charitable contribution, which is a warm-up offer. We train people, they stand up, they go back to the room, and they're giving their credit card to help a huge cause. But that way, a few days in, when Russell asks for the real offer, they're like, oh, I've done this before. It's easier. It's lubricated a little bit. It's something where they know that they can go do it. So by you doing these stories, Nico, I think it totally does the same thing. Even if they're like, yes, I'm in, tell me more, or whatever it is, next time you have an ask or a bigger offer in the value ladder, the buying resistance is lower.
100%.
That's a great point.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know there's a ton of value in just getting people to engage with you that first time, even if they don't convert into a client, which, plenty of them are not going to convert the very first time they ever talk to you. But, they'll continue to keep viewing your stories. And like, if you're just consistent with, providing value and providing insight and providing, unique hooks and unique offers in your story, like, eventually, like, I mean, I've had people come back like a year later and they'll be like, I've been following your story for like a year. And I know I said this a while ago that I was interested, but now I'm ready. Like, let's go. So like, they will come back. It's just, it's just, you got to make it, like you said,
it's
like
probably nice for them to have that foundational, like introduction of, hey, I commented a while back. It's also an exchange of like, now you know who I am. Like maybe you can follow my journey too, because I'm starting what you did a few years ago and I'm hoping to have the same results.
Totally. Yeah, I know. And you meet like I mean, you meet crazy amounts of people. Like it's just insane. Like the network that you build too. Starting to put yourself out there.
You meet crazy amounts of people and crazy people. We can be real about that.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Yeah. So yeah, definitely
filter it.
In the online community. Yeah. You never know who you're going to get, but, yeah. So, definitely don't be afraid. And I would say it's encouraged. Do a call to action every single day as part of your story strategy. And then a couple other things that I like to include on a daily basis. And this is during the week. We'll talk weekend, which is almost the same, but just a little bit different. During the week, I like to make sure that I include like 1 or 2 screenshots or videos of like client results as well. Just because, you want to also make it really clear, like what's in it for them in terms of like, if someone is interested in becoming your client, like what kind of results can they maybe expect from working with you, right? So if you have client testimonials, it doesn't have to necessarily even be like a monetary result. If just anyone has ever said anything like positive or nice about working with you, you want to share that because that's tons of social proof. That's your prospects seeing other people say things about you who don't have a vested interest necessarily, like they're just sharing their experience. And yeah, people at the end of the day, they want results. So
yeah,
you can prove that you've gotten results. A lot of times people will also swipe up on your story and reply, and they'll say like, whoa, like how did they do that? And then that's another way for you to like start the conversation.
That's great.
Plus, I mean, we can talk about ourselves all day, right? But when you have that social proof from somebody else who's seen results with your help, I'm sure that just like makes everything blow up even more.
Totally. Yep. 100%. And then just one other thing that I like to include during the day is something that where I'm sharing my opinion or like taking some sort of a stance on, it can be anything, right? It doesn't even have to be, I usually like steer completely clear of politics. So I'm not even talking about that, but anything where it's like, like I recently started doing the keto diet. So, I'll share something like, life is so much better without carbs. Like, do you agree or do you disagree? And then most people will be like,
the old unpopular opinion.
No way. Yeah, exactly. But like for me, I feel like I have so much more energy, focus, clarity since making that switch. So yeah, just anything that can like spark conversation and also is you sharing your true, authentic opinion, whether or not it's like a popular one. That just gets people to know a little bit more about you and like how you tick. And it makes you stand out too.
Popular
I have noticed something very similar with Reels too. And I just have to point this out because like I wanted to have this conversation with you because I've just been kind of experimenting just for the past couple of weeks with, short form video on social with both stories and Reels. And what you're so right about that last point is like, even if it is, somewhat controversial and it does bring out some negativity, the virality of people who are willing to comment. Because like, if it's a reel, especially like that's going to still be playing on repeat while they're typing their little message. Yeah. And I've noticed like people, even the haters who just want to like fight back with whatever you say, which like, I love it. I think it's funny. I'll like usually reply back something just to be facetious. But my views blow up because they spent time probably viewing my video like 10, 20 times while typing their comment. And the algorithm is like, ooh, this must be fascinating. So then they're starting to show it to more people. And I had one recently that was just like loaded up with comments. Some of them where I, got to be facetious back, but I was like, at the end of the day, this is what I wanted. So bring it on.
Engagement.
Exactly. Yeah. So, definitely be yourself, like share your opinions. And more times than not, like that's going to just create engagement and people interacting with you and getting to know your story more than anything else. So
not only that, you're going to attract the people that you actually want to have as customers. We talked about that, a couple episodes ago, I think with Steve Larson is like, hey, your people will come to you. Like his whole capitalist pig thing, super controversial, but it's engaging. Right. And I think, Laura, one thing I didn't think about is exactly what you just said is, yeah, you get that crazy engagement that happens, but then you repel who you repel, and then you end up working with your dream customers because they align with you.
Exactly. And those dream customers are seeing how you reply to some of those comments. And they're like, this is exactly how I feel about this too.
Bingo.
Like they just feel like it's approachable. And they're like, I'm glad this person handled it this way because that's how I feel too. And it's like, you are bringing those people right where you want them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So what kind of advice would you have for somebody? And I'm sure people ask this all the time. It's like, I don't know. I'm afraid to get in front of the camera. Like, what do you tell them? Like, how do you get started?
Yeah. Well, I would say the first thing is to like, you've got to like kind of consciously, talk yourself into why there's value in even doing that. So the first thing is you want to realize like, if you're building your business online, like there's a huge amount of value from even putting your face online, right? Because almost nobody's going to do business with someone that, at least if you're a freelancer or a coach or service provider or anything like that, like almost nobody's even going to do business with you if there's no face to be found anywhere. So
true.
Ultimately, like, convince yourself that there is true value in doing that, which there is. Second is what I would say is a really easy way to start out is with stories. And you can actually record the stories without them even being, you don't even have to be in your Facebook or Instagram app. Just put yourself in a quiet room in your office or something. Just open up your phone, like you're not streaming live or anything, and just record what you would post on a story. Just try it out for fun. And then once you are like, if you're content with that story, then only then you can decide to just upload it on Facebook and Instagram. That's kind of like the slow steps into being okay with putting your face online. But I would say, maybe you don't have to start off with a Facebook live stream or anything like that, but you can definitely, that's like when I have clients who are kind of afraid or shy of putting their face out on social media, that's kind of like what I say is just to like start with story, and you don't even have to be, you're not actually live streaming on story. You have as many takes as you need. Just record it. And then, if you don't like it, delete that one, but just commit to uploading like one per day. And then you'll start to see like more likely than not, you're going to get like positive comments or positive reactions like to that story. And that's just going to like build your confidence. And then over like probably just a few days, you'll be like, oh, there was nothing to be worried about.
Love that. I think that's a great approachable way of starting this. So
Totally.
On that note, Nico, where can people go to learn more about you, both like on social and if they want to learn more about your business?
Speaking of call to action, right?
Yes, call to action. Yeah. If you are
and I'm gonna end this with like a little challenge too. So this is kind of a callback to that, but I want to find out where we can find you online first.
Sure. Yeah. So if anyone is interested in learning more about me or, what I offer, which essentially we help people with like chatbots and high ticket funnels, both in a done for you as well as like education and like, a course kind of way. You can just find me on social media. I'm very active on Facebook. You can just search Nico Moreno. It's a picture of me with my 2 Comma Club awards. You can also find me on Instagram at Nico Moreno Official. I'm less active on there. Facebook is probably the better way to go. Or just nicomoreno.org is my like main website there. So those are 3 great ways to get in contact with me if you're interested.
Perfect. Okay. And I like going back to what you said about, for people who are afraid to just kind of practice or like start with a story. It's a great way to, get some practice in. It's not live. You can publish it when you're ready. I think it'd be really cool for anybody listening to this episode. If you took any value or golden nuggets from this, it should be to just get started and try. So I highly recommend, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, go create that first story, show your face, tag Nico in it. And then if you could also tag us at ClickFunnels, we'd love to see it and share it out to get you guys started.
Yeah, do it. Would love to see your guys' first stories. Or, maybe you're seasoned vets, but you just haven't done like a face pic or face video on there yet. Yeah, would love to see it.
Cool. All right. Anything else you want to share before we head out?
Yeah, really quickly, I also put together a special little gift for anyone in the ClickFunnels community who's listening. I put together like an opt-in where you can get a free clone of my 2 Comma Club funnel. So if you are a funnel hacker and you're set on the 2 Comma Club award, you can actually get a funnel template clone. Just head over to www.nicomoreno.org/ClickFunnels and you can download it for free.
Perfect.
Amazing. Thanks so much for joining us today, Nico. It was great to chat with you, and I appreciate all of the insight that you shared with our audience.
Oh, thank you both so much for having me. It was so much fun. I love you guys. Love the whole funnel hacker community, and look forward to connecting with you on social.
Thank you, and thanks for being a part of our community.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nico.